The Necropolis is in full swing, but I wanted to look at several things at the moment. First thing that's quite funny is apparently the Grandmaster fight was bugged. Go and check out. I know Seaton's just finished his. I don't know if he's the first one. He's definitely the first streamer. It depends, because I kind of went from Pepe's to Seaton's. I think Seaton's is the first person to defeat Grandmaster, named Grandmaster. I'm not going to spoil anything. Go and check it out. It's a really interesting stream. I had it on whilst I was doing some videos. Yeah, interesting because it came in bugged. So they actually had to fix it. Retro fixed it whilst it was on. So in particular, his heavy attack, I think it was, that was the problem with it. A little bit disappointed with Kabam, but the unstoppable that's only supposed to last for his heavy instead lasts for a long time afterwards. Grandmaster gets passive unstoppable on heavy, but it's on a long time. Okay, so that kind of explains that. This looks awful. I feel really bad for the guys that stuck at 1 HP right now. Yeah, that's what happened. Was I've dropped into Pepe's stream and he was on 1%, and I was thinking, like, what's going on here? Something's not right. So it's like, yeah, it's little bit frustrating with it, but I don't know if it looked as bad as maybe it's always been very funny to kind of like see certain things. Like I'd been brewing and prepping for a potential Aegon boost up to a further rank, which I've got a rank. What rank am I in this one? Oh yeah, so I'm rank 3. Rank 3. What signature? I think it's like it's 200 signature. So I've been brewing this for a little while, and it kind of like, it was, I think, Super Duper Boo's kind of video over the weekend, and last week actually was started to make people really think. Surprised, because I thought I was going to see a load of Baron Zemos. I'm now looking like Barons. Anybody see any Baron Zemos? Instead, everybody's like, hey, just break out the old Aegon. Funny, innit? Anyway, but that's not. It's part of, like, this is a bit of a roundup from the Necropolis based streams and some other stuff as well. So I wanted to bring into the forefront and information the following things. So there was a special Necropolis themed stream earlier today. Some very kind of important information. Maestro playthrough and how the champion isn't really kind of like it's good on offensive, but it's not like as good as, say, on defense, where defense, this kind of like champion is more of a frustrating option. But still, I can imagine a lot of people are going to want to play this champion, utilize it, kind of do it on an offensive, see incredible amounts of damage as you just defeat stuff left, right and center. And of course, being a cosmic, it does provide an interesting option. A glancing as well, I think, is going to be a frustration, and of course from a defense perspective, that is of course going to be one of those frustrating elements right there. So we've gone over the rewards when it comes to Necropolis. Of course, you can get the Mythic Badge, which is what Pepe... Go and support Pepe. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. He's pushing for the Mythic Badge for this. So, fair play if you're willing to do that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a bit... I say I'm looking forward to... I'm somewhat looking forward to doing a run in the mode. Look, there's a Baron Zemo in Necropolis. I didn't think we'd see that today, because it was kind of like everyone was talking about him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to like getting the right relic assigned to Aegon and giving it a try myself, especially with all those kind of rewards. And I'm now thinking about like what to do. I'm definitely looking into Cyber Weekend. That is a main priority. The second thing would probably be like, do I want to do this in the December-January gap? And I think that's a lot of players got the same thing. If you've got to save up the units and you're not spending in the game, like, how do you go about it? Do you go and grab a load of revives? Do you go now and try and see if you can, in 14 days, while it's still in your stash, if you're a non-spending player, look to kind of, inflate that, grab more to it? Do you grab deals with units, revives and things like that? So you've got to be very kind of astute with how you're going to approach this. But I think a lot of units are going to be required for it. And even though, I think it was like Seaton pre-bought a lot of the stuff that he was using, as opposed to farming it. If you're a non-spending player, you've got to be very careful when it comes to the farming of stuff and preparation. But and I will return back to that particular subject in a minute. So I want to come back to this particular event that is running in conjunction with it. One thing that I've been kind of like feeling, I've got a video kind of talking about the idea of being, you kind of being pushed towards doing everything in MCOC at the moment, and kind of like not rushing, but kind of like pushing yourself to get stuff done now. Like, and I know some people will say, no, you don't feel rushed to do. No one does feel rushed to do things now. Well, unfortunately, Kabam are doing a particular event that you've got to get done by January 15th. Basically, you've got to do a completion by January 15th in the Necropolis. And this particular point then it means more of a key decision. Do I use my units? Like, I've got units there, I've got 18,000. Do I in 14 days? And 14 days, as I said, is the window. 14 days is the window because we look at things like your item stash, which is here, and you can only hold your revives for 14 days. So I've basically got to farm within 14 days enough that I need. Is it a case that I can go and do that by apothecary and solo events? Not particularly. I will need to find more revives, or I need to find more units. But again, I need to make the decision. Do those 18,700 units, are they put towards doing a non-spending, free-to-play kind of grind in Necropolis, or do I use that for Cyber Weekend? But I think like the thing is, with 1 week to go until Cyber Weekend, 2 weeks to go until the Cyber Weekend event or Cyber Week ends, I think it's important to anybody just to be a bit realistic. Have a look at the deals first and then go, is it worth, as a Paragon player, as whatever player, is it worth using those units and going and doing stuff for Cyber Weekend? Or is it a case that, abandon your Banquet Event farming for units and stuff and invest that into, this? The problem is Kabam were very clever here. They put out Necropolis in November, just before Cyber Weekend, with specific deals for the new titleage, which is a new thing that you can get by doing a completion, by as well kind of like doing exploration, or by buying something in the Cyber Weekend deals, and as well just before Banquet Event. Very, very smart from Kabam. I think everybody kind of like knows the score here. I mean, like, people quite happily kind of like go and spend, and it's up to you, but I think a lot of us kind of like astute to know what Kabam were playing at when it came to this. They didn't put it out in July, or they didn't put it out in August, or they didn't put it out in March. It's a case of like they put it out at a very key time, very important, because it does help to inflate the financial opportunities. Business and companies do business things. But look, this is the thing that kind of like gets me a little bit annoyed about the rush towards it. Like, you have to basically get involved with it. You have to do a completion of the Necropolis. And this is the thing that kind of like gets me a little bit annoyed, because, well, could be the saving grace. So I'm a bit annoyed that I have to feel forced to do the Necropolis, but, and this is the sneaky thing. I'm going to do a separate video about this. What if you assess these items here, right? And you go, hang on, if I don't spend 18,000 units in Cyber Weekend, okay, I might lose out on some things. If you lose out on a 7-star rank 1 to 2 gem, 200 tier 2 primordial dust, 15,000 7-star shards, 6-star relics, a 6-star relic, 5,000 7-star hero crystal shards, 5-star nexus relics, 100 tier 2 alpha primordial dust, 3,000 7-star hero crystal, yada yada yada. If you miss out on all of those things in the Cyber Weekend deals and go, I'll take that 18,000 units and invest it into doing a Necropolis run, and say the rest of the community is getting up close to about, I don't know, 2 mil, 4 mil, 5 mil deaths in the Necropolis. Because here's the thing: if I'm a rubbish skilled player, but 18,000 units, and I do it right, and I've given out what, and I don't like the idea of doing it, but we've got to look at the kind of the math of it. Let's do the math. If I die in Necropolis based on, I don't know, what's it, 18,000 divided by 40, so basically I give 450 deaths effectively, plus my revives, my other kind of lesser revives. So say for whatever reason, like, I give out 450 deaths, and the rest of the community as well do 5 million deaths. You could basically get what you'd lose from Cyber Weekend just by investing those units into an event like this, in theory. So this is why I think that, and as much as I was about to kind of like go, really angry. I'm not angry, but kind of like annoyed at kind of the way this event has kind of come about. There's also that other side of me that's thinking, right, well, if it costs me a lot of units and I still 100% Necropolis, not 100%, but I complete Necropolis, and maybe I've missed out a Cyber Weekend, maybe I get involved with the Banquet Event, then, well, I could still make bank. I could still take home some things that are going to be beneficial, but it requires the rest of the community to die several times, as well as myself. Like, if I die 500 times in Necropolis, for example, and that's all my 18,000 units gone, in theory, just saying in theory, then it's going to be an interesting case of going, well, I just need a further 100,000 people in the community, which there could be, to die as well. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's ridiculously possible, but it's an interesting concept. And I would just, as I said, I want you to kind of be left with that thought. Yes, I don't like the way that this is theoretically being put together, and I think it's a bit naughty. I do think it's a bit naughty. But yeah, like, the updates will be on MCC socials and media accounts. So deaths on the first fight at any path will not count towards total. So you have to go and complete it, and you have to complete it by January 15th, as it says here. Otherwise, you're not going to qualify. You have to do a completion run. So I'm very much interested in it, and I like the concept of it. I think this could be a very good opportunity. But as I said, I'm still very unsure about the idea of kind of like losing out Cyber Weekend. And the reason, as I said, about that is because we could have an opportunity for a rank 3 7-star. But I think Kabam are putting that in the spending element. And if they do, it's very disappointing. But at the same time, we've got to wait a week. This is the thing I said. You've got to wait for the event to drop before, people are like, oh, I'm Baron Zemo. And then it's like, the event drops. Aegon. Like, come on. Like, we've got to, and people are learning lessons about options of champions to take in to the Necropolis, and yeah, like, it's changing all the time. So wait a week, I'd say. Wait for Cyber Weekend deals. I'm going to devote a separate video to the concept of investing in the concept of maybe holding off Cyber Weekend, depending on the deals, what's in there, and kind of focusing on a Necropolis run instead. But do bear in mind, Cyber Weekend, Banquet Event, Necropolis. 3 big unit slumps. Very disappointing if you are a non-spending player, because you have to make very important decisions. Not so much if you're a spender. But in any case, thoughts on this matter, put it in the comment section down below. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.